This week on the show, we have resilience coach and award-winning entrepreneur, Tracy Doyle. Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for watching. This show is all about giving you insights and showcasing brands that help you to live your best life and give you confidence. As always, I want to kickstart your morning with some motivation and advice to help you to feel inspired and energized to start your day. Today, I want to talk about the importance of understanding that it's never too late to break the cycle and rewrite your story. The reality is most of us are stuck with the same limiting beliefs that remain with us day by day and decade by decade. When the loop that plays in our minds remains the same, it isn't surprising that we keep getting the same undesirable results. Oftentimes, feeling stuck or frustrated stems from being stuck in a loop of thoughts and beliefs that no longer serve us. But the good news is that it's never too late to break that negative loop and start making new decisions. In fact, you can decide right now. You are the author, director, and main character in your story, and every day we have the ability to let go of the old story and rewrite it by simply changing our beliefs. You and you alone decide how your story goes. As the saying goes, stop beating the past, break the pattern now, or tomorrow becomes a copy of today.
Stay tuned. Coming up after the break.
And you are the author of Life Storms, Finding a Clear Sky. So how do you help people find the rainbow after a storm?
Yeah.
After the storm, yeah.
Yeah, no. So Life Storms, Finding Your Clear Sky, actually, it's my only book. And let me just show everyone, what this is about. It's my journey. And the way that I structured this is I wanted you to understand how my life experience has shaped my thinking. And then I introduce you to what I call the reaction cascade. Because for those of us who have those reactions and we're struggling in burnout, it's like, here's the trigger, there's the reaction. What's in between? And so basically what it does is it shows you step by step how to work through the Aurora method. I call this the Bible of the Aurora method. It's all laid out here. And I've written it in a tone where I just want to be your guide. I want to show you how to work through it. And that's what the book's about. And finding your clear sky is nothing more than getting that clarity that you need to not only overcome your burnout, but have lasting change with your burnout, because burnout can come back. And when you learn how to, as I said, see it, name it, and change it, it's practices that you can apply very practically every day. And let's face it, we all stop it. Like we go on a diet, we stop the diet. You'll stop those mindfulness practices. But when the storm starts to come back, you know what to do.
Next up on the show, we have resilience coach and award-winning entrepreneur, Tracy Doyle. Tracy, thank you so much for being on the show today. How are you doing?
I'm great, thanks. It's just an honor to be here.
Well, thank you for being here. You are a resilience coach that helps women go from emotional burnout to connection. And I know it all started because of your own journey with burnout. So tell us about that.
Well, for me, I grew up always believing that I had to sacrifice myself for everyone, right? For my family, for my job, for just about anyone in my life. And that belief actually took me on a journey. And, for me, it was a story where it was December 21st. It was around Christmas time, 1999. And it was a cold, gray winter's day. And I'm getting ready for work and I get a glimpse of myself in the mirror. I didn't recognize myself. My eyes were hollow. My spirit was dim. And I just looked so empty. And in that moment, I just was like, I'm done. I'm done taking care of my mentally ill mom. I'm done being responsible for my sister's kids because I had custody of them. I had a big job. I'm done being, pulled in every single direction at work. I'm done being the fixer. I'm done.
Yeah.
And I thought, if I just got good and drunk, maybe I'd crash the car. This is where burnout had taken me. And later that night, I was like jolted awake by someone knocking on my car window and yelling, like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?"
Wow.
And I was like, what? Like, what have I done? And my car was facing oncoming traffic. I was a hair away from a head-on collision, and I was a wreck. And the shame, the guilt, that next day, I had to walk to a school meeting because I had gone through with this. I'm crying in the police car, like, please, I can't handle a life anymore. And, that next day, it was like my head and my heart were fighting. And it was like, Tracy, how could you do that? And yet my heart is going, Tracy, but you're still here.
Yeah.
And, and that's when I realized, sacrifice doesn't mean abandoning yourself. Sacrificing yourself doesn't mean abandoning yourself. It means putting yourself first while you're managing it all. And for me, that's really the first step, right? It meant for me, I had to get help.
Yeah.
And what felt like 10 years of this journey of getting help, that's when I realized, it wasn't my job burning me out. It wasn't my mother burning me out. It wasn't all the responsibilities burning me out. It was me. And you see, I had this belief that I didn't belong. And I thought that if I sacrificed myself for everyone and I gave 110% of myself to everyone, well, then maybe I would. And so, when I learned how to reshape what shaped me, that's when I found my way back, to myself, to my voice, to my life, and to the people that I love. And so that's really what that burnout journey took me through.
We live in a society that really promotes hustle culture and to keep striving. So how do you help your clients slow down?
Yeah. So, the demands out there are the demands out there. What I've learned is that it's our own inner belief that drives us to keep trying to meet that demand. Because why? We're afraid. We're afraid we're going to lose our job. We're afraid we're going to lose what we have, our money, our home, whatever it is. And so on my journey, what I learned and what I teach is that we have to recognize how our life experiences have shaped our thinking, how our thinking drive us to burnout, and more importantly, to relationship conflicts. Because what happens in this hustle and bustle is we're human doers. We do and we do and we do and we do and we do. And, we expect everyone to understand what we're doing. And when they don't, we start to implode, right? So we lose touch with ourselves. And then we start losing touch with everyone else because we start exploding, right? So we're imploding, we're exploding. And so what I do to help others is I help them recognize what beliefs are driving them, what fear actually is triggered from that belief, and then how that fear is driving us to these crazy places, and how do we build bridges back to ourselves and to the people who matter in our life.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing how our beliefs really shape our reality, right? I mean, when our beliefs are off, then our whole lives are off, right?
Exactly. Exactly. What I learned was, and I'm going to share some things that I've learned over the years of this journey. I've come to understand by working with others is that we're all wounded, right? And just hear me out on this. We've all had experiences in our lives that shape us, right? And so, some people it's trauma. For other people, it's a super critical parent that puts super high demands on them. And irrespective of way over here to something where someone will say, oh, that really wasn't a wound. What happens is our wounds matter because it's how we internalize it. And so when we start internalizing these things, what starts to happen is it shapes a belief. I'll give you an example. So for me, my mom she had mental illness. She basically, had me as a teenager. She married when I was 7. And my stepdad's mom didn't accept me. And she, treated me poorly. She called me names. And the way I internalized that experience, was that a huge trauma? No, but it was a wound. Because the way I internalized it was, I don't belong. Yeah. And that belief, I don't belong, drove me, you heard it, to sacrificing myself for everybody, right? It took me all the way to burnout. And every time I tried to get out of burnout, the pattern kept repeating itself over and over and over again. So for me, helping others is all about helping them recognize, what wounds for them matter, how did it shape them, how is it driving them, and what do we do to reshape it? And that's where mindfulness comes in.
And Tracy, you talk about you had a lot of success in your career when you first started out, but you still felt sad. So tell us about that and how success wasn't what you thought it would be.
Yeah, so for me, what was happening was based on my experiences early on, my early life experiences, I had another experience, right, where my stepdad was he was an alcoholic, and I stepped up for my family, and I was doing a lot of things as a young child to help my siblings and to help my mom. And so for me, that experience shaped this belief that like the only way to get out is if I get out, right? And I had to achieve. So I started really focusing on school and I became an overachiever. And so for me, that overachieving, and and what I call a human doing, right? I was doing, 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 doing. I was never taking time for myself. And the more I did, the emptier I felt because I had nothing left to give. I was just giving, 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 family to job to this. And I could be sitting in a room with a whole room full of people and feel alone and isolated because I had disconnected so much from myself and my needs and my wants because I was doing for everyone else. And overachievement and high performance took me there. And the secret thing that I learned, and I call this the secret, but the thing for me that was the big aha was I was hiding behind that performance because again, I believed I didn't belong. So if I kept achieving and achieving and achieving, you'd see me and you'd recognize me and you'd think I belonged too, right? Meanwhile, that was the secret behind my problem, but I didn't know it. So I was actually hiding behind that high performance. And meanwhile, not at all running away from myself and my own feelings and not even like staying present in the moment. And that's where mindfulness comes in with burnout, because for those of us who are high performers, which there are many of us, I believe that every woman I know is a CEO of her life. We're just out there taking care of all of this. And meanwhile, we abandon what's in here.
And Tracy, you are the creator of the Aurora Method. Tell us what it is and how it helps people become more resilient.
Yeah, so first let me give some background on it. So, the Aurora Method was born out of various experiences in my life in the burnout recovery journey itself. Because here's the thing, when you're trying to overcome burnout, if anything you read from the experts, if you go and read studies and papers and things like that, they tell you the number one treatment is change your mindset and change your attitude and outlook on life. And when you're in the depths of burnout, you're like, how? How do I do that? So the Aurora Method is all born out of my journey for discovering how, because here's what happened for me. You heard my story. I took it all the way to the end, right? I mean, I just didn't want to live anymore. Please, anyone out there, if you're in that place, get help. The thing with burnout is the key signal is conflict. What starts to happen is those wounds they sit in our unconscious mind, they start to distort how we think, how we feel, and how we relate to other people. And all of a sudden it feels like we're in conflict with everyone and we're reacting. Yeah. And it's those reactions where we explode or we implode that we're like, is this ever going to get better? So what the Aurora Method helps you do, it's 4 pieces, 4 parts. The first part is really looking at how your life experiences shape your thinking. But from there, you gain emotional clarity and looking at the patterns that it creates for you and the conflicts that it's created. Now you're seeing it and you're naming it. Once you name it, you have the ability to change it by creating your own personalized mindfulness approach. Most people will say, use affirmations, basically do breathing exercises. And I know for me, back when I was trying to overcome, people would say, just say I'm enough or say I'm worthy. It didn't work for me. But now that I know one of my wounds was I don't belong, what do I say? I'm worthy as I am. I belong right here. So I help people get to that point of knowing what's personal to them. And then from there, it's conscious intention, conscious action, because burnout fractures our relationships too. Let's face it, we don't just burn out. We start to burn out the people around us because of, our distance. We pull away from people because we're imploding. We react to people, so we're exploding. So what the Aurora Method does is help you build bridges back to others. So with that conscious awareness, you're able to speak your truth, say what you mean what you say, right? And not back off and say, no, I'm not going to do that, because you're understanding what's driving you now. And you have your own personalized mindfulness that you can practice daily. You can practice in the moment. You can practice it in a storm. And so essentially, you're building bridges back to others. You're improving your communication. You're finding your clarity. You're finding your confidence. That's how I help others.
And you are the author of Life Storms, Finding a Clear Sky. So how do you help people find the rainbow after a storm?
Yeah.
After the storm, yeah.
Yeah, no. So Life Storms, Finding Your Clear Sky, actually, it's my only book. And let me just show everyone, what this is about. It's my journey. And the way that I structured this is I wanted you to understand how my life experience has shaped my thinking. And then I introduce you to what I call the reaction cascade. Because for those of us who have those reactions and we're struggling in burnout, it's like, here's the trigger, there's the reaction. What's in between? And so basically what it does is it shows you step by step how to work through the Aurora method. I call this the Bible of the Aurora method. It's all laid out here. And I've written it in a tone where I just want to be your guide. I want to show you how to work through it. And that's what the book's about. And finding your clear sky is nothing more than getting that clarity that you need to not only overcome your burnout, but have lasting change with your burnout, because burnout can come back. And when you learn how to, as I said, see it and name it and change it, it's practices that you can apply very practically every day. And let's face it, we all stop it. Like we go on a diet, we stop the diet. You'll stop those mindfulness practices. But when the storm starts to come back, you know what to do.
What are some practical tools that our viewers can take today to stop overthinking? Because I feel like a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah, overthinking is a challenge. It leads us a lot to the implosion, right? And to social isolation, because it's like invisible walls around us because we keep going and going and going. That's really where the mindfulness comes in. So, the thing with the Aurora method is, and I was saying this earlier, when you start to look at how your wounds shaped your beliefs, what you then experience is the reaction cascade when you're triggered. So let me explain it. So trigger happens, that belief is awakened, all of a sudden, oh my gosh, this is a nanosecond, by the way. I'm not good enough. Fear gets ignited, right? Tony Robbins he says 3 core fears. I love his work and he keeps it simple. I'm afraid of losing what I have. I'm afraid that I'll never get what I want, or I'm afraid of being less than or getting less than I desire. And then it takes us into negative thinking and we're trapped in this city of limitation, right? That city of limitation is driven by fear. And it's like, oh my God, if this happens, oh my God, then that's not going to happen. Oh my God, wait, right? So what I teach, very simple, I'm removing my fear and I'm replacing it with what? Oftentimes I'm trusting that everything's going to be okay. I'm trusting that all is well, whatever it might be. And so if I'm never going to get something, I'm trusting it's all going to work out, right? And so you have to redirect it and you have to disrupt it. Because when we're burned out, we feel like everything is impossible. Mm-hmm. When we're overwhelmed with the overthinking, everything's impossible. So if we're going to make possible happen, we have to disrupt it first. And the Aurora method shows you how to do that very simply and very practically.
And Tracy, I created my platform to inspire, to uplift, and to really showcase that anything is possible. So for any of our viewers going through a hard time and maybe are not seeing their dreams manifest, what would you say to inspire and uplift them?
I would say 2 things. The one is you're not broken, and you're not broken, you're brave, right? Because if you recognize you have a problem, you know what to do about it because there's a solution. And the other thing I'll say is what was shaped can be reshaped, because once you see it and name it, you can change it. You are empowered to actually bring everything you want to yourself.
And Tracy, for our viewers that want to connect with you and get coached with you personally, how can they do so?
Yeah, so what I always recommend is scheduling a one-on-one, because we're all in different phases of burnout, and I don't want anyone to think that I'm the be-all end-all in burnout. And so I always recommend a consultative session. It's free for 30 minutes. Meet with Tracy.coach, schedule that one-on-one. But if you want to learn more, you can check out my website, which is tracydoyle.life, TracyDoyle.life, and meet with Tracy, TracyY.coach.
Very nice. We're going to link that information below so our viewers can see it. Tracy, thank you so much for being on the show today, and keep up the amazing work.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity.
The Darriel Roy Show is available on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts.